Hello guys, and welcome back to the Hair Babes and Business podcast. My name is Jess and I am your host. Thank you for joining me today on both the Spotify and the YouTube channel. I did want to make a special announcement for anyone who's been following along on the Spotify that today is actually our official 50th podcast episode. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for everyone who's joined me on this journey, whether you've been there since day one or whether this is the first time you're listening. I'm so grateful to have you here. And I'm just so thankful that this crazy little idea that I had to start a podcast has really resonated with you guys, and it's been something that you've really enjoyed, and it's translated really well, and that so many of you have gotten advice from what I have to share with you guys. 50 weeks ago, because I do weekly episodes, I decided to start this podcast. I think it was in that weird period between Christmas and New Year last year. I decided to start the podcast and I put my first episode up. And it's so funny when I go back and listen to that episode because it is so cringe and so hard to listen to. I can literally hear the fear in my voice. I was terrified to record that episode. And when I listened to the introduction, I'm like, I just want to delete that episode. I want no one to ever hear it. But, it was where it all started, and I think it deserves a place where it is. But it is interesting. I know that I was just absolutely terrified, and I can literally hear the fear in my voice. It's so cringe. It's so hard to listen to. But I think when I finally started getting into the topic and talking, I did have a little bit of good advice to share. So it worked out okay. But for those of you who did listen from the very first episode, thank you for giving me space to grow into the person that I am now. I'm a lot more confident talking to a camera. I'm a lot more confident talking into a microphone. I've had a lot of growth since that very first episode. So thank you for giving me the space to do that. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for persevering with me, because it would have been very easy to tap out of that first episode, and I wouldn't blame you. But today is a really special occasion. It marks the 50th episode of the podcast, and I guess I just wanted to start off by saying thank you so much for your support. Like I said on the Instagram, if you guys have been following along, last week I got my very first ever set of Spotify Wrapped statistics, and I was just blown away when I saw that over 250 people have me in their top 10 podcasts, and that 61 people, I was their number one most listened to podcast. That literally made me bawl. I cried my eyes out when I saw those statistics, because honestly, it just is so amazing to me to think that 61 people listen to my podcast more than they listen to anybody else's, and that they found my information so helpful, and that everything that I'm working so hard to do here and everything that I'm really trying to share with you guys is paying off. And yeah, I just was blown away when I saw those results, and I'm so thankful. So to everyone who does support the podcast, to everyone who listens, to everyone who had me in your top 10, to everyone who had me in your top 5, and to everyone who had me as your top 1, thank you from the bottom of my heart. This has been such an amazing journey, and I'm so grateful that the advice that I'm sharing is helping, because that's really what I want. I just want to empower women to be the best hairdressers that they can be and have the best businesses that they can have. So thank you so much. I'm so grateful that it's helping and that it's working. I didn't really know when I started this podcast exactly how it was going to go or what was going to happen. I really didn't know what the future looked like for this podcast. And I didn't know how many episodes I could really make, because I wasn't sure how much there was to talk about. But I'm almost a year in now, and I feel like I've barely scratched the surface. There's so much more to talk about. There's so much more to share. I have so many exciting things coming up for you guys, and I just can't wait to go even further into this and share even more with you. And I just wanted to take this time to remind you guys, if there's ever anything that you're struggling with or ever anything that you want me to discuss further, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to hear from you, and I would be so happy to talk more about these things on the podcast and on the YouTube. Guys, this is a completely free service. I don't charge for the podcast. I don't charge for the YouTube. So any information that you're looking for, that you want free advice on, please reach out. I love hearing from you guys. The episodes where I'm answering your questions, are some of my most favorite episodes I've ever recorded, because I know that I'm telling you exactly the things you need to hear. So I really do encourage you, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, because I'd love to be in contact with you. As today is our 50th episode, I wanted to just do something a little bit motivational and a little bit uplifting for you guys. And I wanted to share a message that's kind of been on my heart for the last week. I've been really thinking about this a lot, and I just think it's so important that we do rally together right now. We know that hairdressing is in a really different place than it was even 5 years ago, but 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Things have really changed a lot, especially since COVID and now having the financial crisis. And obviously I follow all you guys back in the Instagram, and I see what's happening in the community, and I think people are just getting really tired of the constant pressure of having a perfect social media, having the most perfectly aesthetic salon, always having to be super upbeat and happy and fun, while there are clients cancelling last minute and not showing up and complaining about the cost or complaining about the treatment they received. And it's hard trying to keep everyone happy while still keep your head above water. And I think especially now, like with the cost of living crisis, like we all know our costs have gone up dramatically since COVID. But what hasn't gone up dramatically is the prices we're charging. And so sometimes it really feels like you're working so hard to see very little benefit. And that is draining too. And, you know, it's hard trying to get new clients come in. It's hard trying to make profits. It's hard trying to keep up with the bills and the stock and the product and everything else that you've got to keep on top on, while running a perfectly amazing social media page and having the most beautiful aesthetic salon and making sure that you're sharing the cocktails with the guests and all the things that you've got to do to make sure that everything is going 100% right is draining. Like, I think we can all agree that it is hard work and it is draining. But what I really wanted to do today is just encourage you. First of all, I just want to say that you're all doing such an incredible job. And in case no one's told you lately, I am so proud of you, because I know that this business and this hairdressing gig is not an easy one. It is so hard. It's so draining. It is a huge amount of pressure to be the best that you can possibly be, and then even better. And I know that that's not easy. I know that that takes a toll, and it is really tricky and really hard. And there's two different concepts that I've thought about lately that I just want to talk to you about and share with you today. And the first one of those concepts is something that I was actually talking with my mum about the other night. And we were having this conversation, and I was like, I need to do a podcast about this. And that is the concept of, if you're in a circle with 5 broke people, chances are you'll be the 6th broke person. And I think that's so true. Like, picking your circle is so important. And it's important when it comes to friends, it's important when it comes to family, it's important when it comes to clientele, but it's super important when it comes to business. And I do think it's really important for all of you to have a circle of women that you can talk to right now who are in business, who are going to uplift you. They're not going to drag you down. They're not going to say, everything's hard, might as well give up, I'm probably going to have to close the business. Like, even if that is the reality of it, you want to be surrounding yourself with problem solvers and people who are creative and people who want to do their best to see positive change. And I just think that's really important, to try and find that circle and find that group of people who are all going to help uplift each other to be better and to do better and to be the best that they possibly can be. Like I said, I don't think by any means we are having an easy time at the moment, or that the things that we are going through are fun or fair or easy. But I do think that if you are able to surround yourself with people who are fighting for this business, because at the end of the day, like, times are tough, but we're tougher. And if we can surround ourselves with positive people who are going to uplift us and be there for us and support us and make us feel like we can really achieve anything, it's just going to open up so much more space for us to have such a more clear mind on problem solving and going, okay, like, this thing is not working right now. This thing really sucks, but what can I do to try and make up for it? How can I try and get more people in the door? What's something that I can do that's different that nobody else is doing that people are going to come and see me for because it's different and it's what they're searching for? And I just think that if you're not surrounded by people who are saying to you, like, yeah, this is tough, but we are going to find a way to get around this. We are going to find a way to fix this. We're going to find a way to be better. I think once you're surrounded by those people, it's going to make it so much easier for you to be better and do better. And I also heard this quote, which just a little bit something different too, is that if you are surrounded by really, really successful people, you're almost in a sense going to feel this pressure to make sure that you're also successful, because you're going to want to go out for like the fancy restaurant dinners that they're going to, and you're going to want to be able to go and get wine and have a girls' night out at a bar with the girls, or, you know, if everyone's wearing a certain style of clothing, you're going to want to make sure that you feel good in your clothing too. So pressure in the best way, pressure to be the best version of yourself, and pressure to do the most that you can to make sure that you are achieving that success and that you are achieving the good things that you are destined to do and you are so worthy of having and so worthy of being. And so I just thought that was a really powerful thing to talk about and just remind you that yes, things are hard, absolutely, and I'm not taking any credit away from that. But find your community, build your community. Find your people who are going to help support you at this time and help you to be the best version of yourself, rather than people who are going to sit there and wallow in their own self-pity, because that's not how you move forward in life. That's not how you get the things you want. That's not how you become the best version of yourself. And we know it's not easy, because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, and they're not, because it takes a special kind of person to be able to persevere through the hard times and be better. And we are all here doing that. If you're here and you're listening to this and you want to be better and you want your business to thrive and you want to be successful, then you already are wanting the best for yourself. You're proving to yourself that you're worthy of the best. You're proving to yourself that you can do it. And I'm so proud of you, because I know that it's not easy. I know that it would be very, very easy right now to listen to the noise that businesses aren't going to go anywhere and times are tough and no one wants to spend any money. Like, it's very easy to listen to that narrative. But if you can say, yeah, this is tough, but I am going to find a way through it and I'm going to find a way to be better, I promise you will. I promise you will. Because if you come in with that mindset of like, yeah, it's hard, but I promise I will make it work, you will. Every single time, hands down, you will make it work. You have to have that attitude. It's the only thing that is going to get you through right now. And like I said, once you get into that good headspace, you're going to start coming up with things that you're like, wow, like I have no idea where that came from, but that was really good. Like, and you'll keep coming up with more and more of those things. Like, you'll come up with one and then you'll do that thing and then it will be a success. And then it will like encourage you to keep trying more things and doing different things to keep becoming more and more successful. So going down that path, that leads me to the second thing that I wanted to talk about. I was watching TikTok the other night and this TikTok came up and it basically said, in 100 years time, we're all going to be gone. Like, all of us are not going to be here anymore. Everything that we've worked so hard for will be gone. And like, we just put so much pressure on ourselves to be the best and the most perfect and make sure that everything's right, and we don't want to humiliate ourselves and we don't want to make mistakes because that's embarrassing. And I think if you can just think about the fact that in 100 years time, all of this isn't going to matter. Like, no one's even going to know about it. No one's even going to know that you posted that silly video and it only got 2 likes, or you had this idea for a business thing that you thought was really going to work and then you hosted the event and only 1 person came and it was a total flop. Like, none of that is going to matter. No one's going to care. No one's going to know about it. No one's going to go, oh, how funny is it that one time Sally, who owns Excellent Edges haircutting salon, hosted an event and only 1 person came along. How embarrassing is that? Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's not that deep. But the difference between having a little bit of an embarrassing flop and moving on from it and learning from it and choosing to be better versus doing something really successful and making your mark in the world is life-changing. And I think when you go into that perspective of taking risks, of like, well, if this flops, who cares? Like, it's really not that big of a deal. It's really not that deep. It might be embarrassing for a couple of weeks and then I'll forget that it ever happened. Versus if I do this and it goes really, really well, maybe this is going to be the secret that changes everything. Maybe this is the thing that's going to literally turn my life and my business around. Maybe this is going to be the key that unlocks everything that I ever dreamt of. I think if you can go into it with that perspective of like the risk versus reward really is so minor to what could come from it, it's just going to change your way of thinking entirely. And I think you'll be more willing to take risks and more willing to try things and see if it works out. And if it doesn't, just go, okay, that was a lesson and I've learned from that and I can move forward now. Versus going, oh my gosh, my whole world is crashing down and I'm never ever gonna try again. Like, no, that's not what we do as entrepreneurs and business owners. We keep making mistakes, we dust ourselves off, we get back up, and we become the best versions of ourselves that we possibly can. And we keep trying until we figure out what is the secret ingredient to making our business work and to making ourselves successful and doing all the things that we ever dreamt of doing. That's what this is about. It's about not worrying about those silly little things that might happen, also might not even happen, to actually allow ourselves to take the steps we need to be the most successful versions of ourselves that we can be, and to unlocking our dream life. So that's really what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I know this is a bit of a different episode, but I just think it's really important that we focus on the good right now, because I know there's a lot of mess and a lot of noise, and I know it's really easy to become distracted, but you opened your business with a dream, and it wasn't to just give up because things are tough right now. That's never what you went into business with the dream of having happen. And I don't think that you have to do that. I think if you are willing to fight for it, you can have everything you ever wanted and more. I believe that with my whole heart and soul. I wouldn't be sitting here saying this if I didn't believe that. And I think I've just seen it proven so many times over and over and over again that someone puts their mind to something and they achieve it because giving up wasn't an option and losing wasn't an option. The only option was to win, and the only option was to succeed. And if you go into any of your goals with that mindset, then you have no other option but to win and but to succeed. So I think that's just a really important reminder for you. Like, think about your circle, surround yourself with people who are going to uplift you. Remember that if you make a silly mistake, it's not that deep. But if you make a step that actually does take off or does find success in whatever way possible, then that is game changing. So you have to not be afraid to take the risk. And don't give up. You have fought through so much, and yes, this is hard, but this too shall pass. And like I said before, the situation is tough, but you are tougher, and you're gonna get through this. And I'm so proud of you, and I love you. And I hope that this was helpful for you guys to listen to today. Next week, I am bringing you an interview that I am so excited to share with you. And I recorded it a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know how I've managed to be disciplined enough to not share it already, because I'm busting to share it with you. And I'm looking very, very forward to sharing it with you. I think you guys are going to find it very inspirational. I was able to interview a business owner from the UK who just has some incredible, insightful information that I cannot wait to share with you. So stay tuned for that episode. But for now, thank you so much for celebrating my 50th podcast episode with me. It means the absolute world to me. Thank you for following me on this journey, whether you were there from the very start or whether you're just tuning in now. I know that this business is going to go to such amazing places, and I can't wait for you guys to come on this adventure with me, because it really has been an adventure and it's an exciting one, and I can't wait to see what is in store next. Guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, I would love for you to follow the Spotify or the YouTube. I'd love for you to give it a great review, a thumbs up, any of the good things. And if you wanted to share it, pretty please. I would also really love that too, because I do want more people to find this and be motivated and inspired. And if you haven't already, please come and join me on Instagram and TikTok, because I also share content on both of those platforms as well. Guys, I hope you have the most fabulous week. Thank you for spending another Monday with me. And I look very forward to bringing you that very special interview next Monday. It's a good one, so make sure you tune in. Have a wonderful week, guys. Mwah.